Okay. So as you know, in satsang, if you have any questions, you're welcome to speak your question or write your question in the chat box. The chat box is available to you if you move your cursor to the upper left corner of the screen. Or you can open the chat box in case it's not open, and you could also write your question there or just speak your question.
Magdi?
Yes.
This is Ana Cristina.
Hello, Ana Cristina.
Nice to see you.
Yes, same here, Ana Cristina.
Since this is a satsang about happiness, I have long wondered about this thing called romantic love and falling in love, which seems to be one of the main objectives of our civilization for being alive. But I have always felt that it was something that concerned mainly the separate self. I would like to know if this thing called falling in love or being in love is of any use to the self and to real happiness.
Yes.
How to be able to use it to go to happiness, or if it's completely unusable, if it's just a dream of the self that is of no use.
Okay, I understand the question. One thing to understand about falling in love is that when you fall in love, you're actually falling out of the personal self. Let me repeat that. When you fall in love, you're falling out of the person and you're falling into love. And when you fall in love, there is no time, no thought, no mind. There is just the love. Now, it's very happy. It's beyond description, really. It's beyond words, beyond concepts. And in that moment of falling in love, the separate self merges in the divine. You're no longer experiencing yourself as a person. But the mind then resurfaces and weaves a me and the other story, weaves a story. And then it goes from there. The personal self resurfaces and impersonalizes. It personifies the love by introducing the person, while in fact in love there was no person.
Yeah.
And that's important to understand that. It's important to understand that in love there are no two, there aren't many, there's just love. And sometimes people use the expression, I lost my mind.
It's true.
And you can't rationalize it, and you just all you're thinking about and all you're hoping for and all you're dreaming about is to be unified with the one you love. And there is nothing that's in your way. You will travel to any distance. You will do anything that is needed in order for you to celebrate the love.
Yeah.
So also falling in love, and I wouldn't call it romantic love. I just say falling in love, just love. No need to put the title romantic, but okay, it doesn't matter really. Is also a glimpse, in a way, of the self, because the self, consciousness, is love.
Yeah.
Consciousness is freedom, is beauty, is love that has no opposite. Consciousness is not involved in the love and hate. I love you if you are such and such a person, or if you behave in such and such a way. Consciousness is completely unconditional. It's unconditional love. It is love. And consciousness recognizes everything as itself. There is no external reality to consciousness. So consciousness is the absolute love. In other words, it never leaves itself to become something else that is separate from anything. So consciousness does not fall in love. Consciousness is love.
Is love.
Is love.
Yeah.
Now, from the body-mind perspective, from the human thought perspective, we say, well, I fell in love. But in fact, the statement, I fell in love with such and such, or I fell in love, is a statement that comes after the fact. It's not what the actual experience is. The actual experience of falling in love is wordless. There is no words about it. There is it's beyond the mind. And so we say it's undescribable. Love is not describable. You cannot describe it, because there is no way for the mind to speak of that which is vaster than it.
Yeah.
So we use words like that are sort of open-ended. We say love is bliss, love is God, love is absolute. We use words that are so open that can only get their significance from the actual experience.
Yeah, of course.
So coming back to your question, Anna Christina, you asked, like, what is the purpose, or is there any purpose of falling in love in terms of the revelation of the self, in terms of the revelation of consciousness? Yes, there is, because falling in love in a way is a reminder. You could say that it's a reminder of our true nature. It's a gift from God. It's like a glimpse that God gives us, that the universe gives us, that universal consciousness gives us of itself. And then we suffer when the personal self comes in, and we realize that, oh, well, now there are all these conditions. I love you now, I want to possess you.
Yeah,
I love you. Then therefore, I want you to be an object of mine that I can display, own, possess, whatever.
Or control.
Or control.
Yeah.
Or exhibit. The personal self is always looking for something outside of itself to fulfill itself. And it's looking for images, it's looking for objects, it's looking for experiences to fulfill itself. But the separate self can never fulfill itself, because by its very nature, it is separate. So it cannot fulfill itself in terms of the fulfillment means to reconnect with the wholeness.
Maybe it feels threatened when one falls in love and feels the vastness of this love, unconditional, and then feels the separate self feels threatened and starts putting condition. Okay, if you don't come and see me, then I will not be in love with you, and all that, because it's afraid of feeling that vastness, maybe.
Yes. It's important to understand that, in fact, there is no actual separate self. So when we speak of a separate self, we're speaking of this belief and feeling that I am a man or a woman, that I'm a limited consciousness, and that I am a personal consciousness. And that's what we refer we refer to as a separate self, because in fact there isn't a separate
There is
self. It's just thoughts and
a
images
sensation.
and sensations.
Yeah.
And as long as we don't contemplate, we don't inquire, we don't examine this belief, and we have to examine it in our direct experience. As long as we're not examining in our direct experience this belief in being a separate person, in being a limited consciousness, that impression continues.
Yeah.
So, and as it continues, it continues as an ongoing thoughts and sensations. As it continues, the impression is that there is an actual separate self. It's like
Yeah. It gets solidity.
It gets right. It gets this an imaginary solidity.
Solidity. Yeah.
Imaginary solidity in thought and in sensations, in feelings and sensations.
Yeah.
So
maybe the way to use, or not use, but profit from this feeling of vastness in love would be to examine and question constantly this imaginary belief of the
yes,
separate self that
absolutely.
ruins, in fact, so many times ruins this wonderful feeling of dissolution of the me,
Yes,
merging of
yes,
into the self.
absolutely. The contemplation of what is love and how to live the love. And that's what's really beautiful in this body-mind experience that we're having, this temporary experience that we're having, this limited experience that we're having, that we are given a laboratory of sort when we are in a relationship. It's a laboratory for us to apply and live the understanding and the wisdom that we get from our contemplation. This is the sort of the stage for us to live in a way that is fair, that is spacious, that is allowing, that is listening. And in relationship, how you're living the relationship is very, very, very crucial as opposed to how you define it. It's being defined moment by moment at how you live it. And often in relationships, we encounter in our partner or in the relationship with our partner some situations that they're not very harmonious with how we feel or how we perceive things. And yet that is their way of expressing themselves. So we find ourselves in a situation where there is some sort of internal dissonance. And it's a good opportunity to inquire in how to live that. We can explore it with the other. We can explore it within ourselves and allow ourselves to feel, slightly opposed. Because if all our life we're just trying to have a relationship where everything is meeting our inner conditions, heck, we would be like some sort of tyrant. So to be inquiring, to be looking into yourself, your feelings, your thoughts in relationship is a very good opportunity to live the truth, live at least your contemplation. And your contemplation is an ongoing contemplation. It's ever blooming, it's ever revealing more and more and deepening, and to live that in your relationship is it's actually a gift that we are given, not only in a relationship but also in talking about intimate relationships, but also friendships and relationships at work. The entire waking dream is about the contemplation of what is the reality of this dream and how to live that. And so it's both an inner contemplation and also a living contemplation of the principles, the principles that do not come from the mind, that come from the awakening.
Yeah. Thank you, Mag.
Okay, Ana Cristina.
It's fine.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for your answer.
Claro. Hey Zoe, I just saw your question. Let me see if I can go to it. So Zoe, you write, let's see. Okay, hi Magdi, I'm sitting at a noisy coffee shop, so I will write this question rather than speak it. Last satsang, you touch on everything happening now in this one reality. Day and night, the apparent past, 2015, 2016, 2017, all the o'clocks. So all the future is already happening now as well. And yet, it is not fixed, but infinitely creative. Yes, I recollect. I recollect that, Zoe. I don't see a question, but I guess maybe you want me to speak some more about that. So, yes. So what I was just refreshing the conversation from last satsang, I was pointing that right now it is day, but it is also night. It is daytime and nighttime. And so the mind hears that and says, what are you talking about? It's very clearly daytime right now. It's not nighttime. And one may say, oh, well, okay, it's daytime here, but maybe it's nighttime in Germany or New Zealand, you know. But that's not what I mean. I don't mean that it's daytime here and it's nighttime in a different time zone. I'm not talking about time zones. I'm talking about no time zones. Talking about in the absolute, in the true sense. Before the mind comes and divides day and night, it is right now day and night. Meaning from the perspective of reality, there is no day and night. Or day and night are one. There is no past and future. So all the time is compressed in the eternity of now, eternity of consciousness, actually. It's not the eternity of a time, a zero time, it's the eternity of consciousness. And consciousness is zero time and infinite time simultaneously. It is not neither infinite time nor zero time. It is both infinite and zero, and at the same time, none of that. So from the human body instrument perspective, meaning from the functioning brain and the senses of the body mind, day is from a certain time to a certain time, or daylight is measured according to a certain determined parameters. So we may say, for example, that a certain degree of luminosity is the beginning of the day, like which we call the dawn, and a certain degree of of darkness is the beginning of what we refer to as night. But what is this degree? At what point do we say, well, here it is, day is starting? It's a mental choice, which is fine. There's no argument with that. But the fact that the human mind or the human culture has defined day and night does not mean that that is a reality. It is a very convenient concept, very useful concept, and it has some functions. It serves a certain function. But I am talking about the contemplation of truth, because in the contemplation of the self, in the inquiry, in the inquiry into what is the reality of my experience, what is happiness, where is it, what is it, we are looking at reality, because the objective, one could say, of the contemplation is happiness. But if happiness is just a concept, then forget it. Who wants happiness as a concept? Or if happiness is relative, then also forget it. What's the point? I mean, I'm happy now and be unhappy tomorrow. So it has to be real. Reality does not is not relative. It is absolute. So happiness is absolute. We know that within the core of our being. So therefore, the contemplation of the self or of happiness is the contemplation of reality. It's really important to understand that. It's not a contemplation of thought. It's not a contemplation of the scriptures. It's a contemplation of reality. You have to be very clear that whenever you're contemplating the relative realm, you are in thought, which is quite different from the contemplation of truth. So coming back to your question, Zoe, from the absolute perspective, past, future, 2015, 2012, 2016, 2050, they're all the eternity of consciousness. They're all this very moment, which is the eternity of consciousness. It is, you said, it is not fixed, but infinitely creative. Okay. Yes, it is not fixed. So you also write, Zoe, thank you. Yes, I wanted more clarity. This concept came up that the future is already happening. So that is being in the relative realm. Yes, yes. Be careful. The future is not already happening. And the past isn't happening or hasn't happened. The future isn't already happening. There is no future outside of thought. So future is thought. You have to look at that for yourself. What is your experience of future? You have to ask yourself. And you may come to realize that your experience of future is thought, a current thought. You never, there is no future. You never experience a future, because future is a concept. How could you experience a concept? Only via thought. But you don't, it's like, how do you experience Santa Claus? Via thought. How do you experience the tooth fairy? Via thought. How do you experience a pink flying elephant? Via thought. In the same way, how do you experience a future? Via thought. So the future is thought. But I remind you, Zoe, that the contemplation of the self, of happiness, is the contemplation of reality. And what is the reality of thought? Is it not consciousness? You are still imagining a future. And you have a new idea, a new thought that you're looking at, which is, oh, the future is happening now. And that entire thought, the future is happening now, it's just thought. But the reality is not thought. Reality is the I, the absolute self. I that has no name and no words to describe it, and yet it is the reality of your experience. Without the I, we say I, you can say God, Brahman, presence. Without I, what is this perception, or what is a thought? I is the essential reality that via which thought is known. So the knowingness of thought is via awareness, via consciousness. The knowingness of any perception is via awareness. So you know this perception right now, whatever it is that you're perceiving, via awareness. Its substance is awareness. So the reality of thought, the reality of perception, the reality of sensation is awareness. Stay with the reality. So Zoe, let me see, you write something else. Yes, stay with the reality and not with the imagined. So Zoe, you write, future and past is only thought. Yes, that clarifies it. And reality is consciousness, not thought. Yes, okay. Yes, yes, Zoe. So in sharing, like I spoke last satsang about future and past are the eternity of consciousness. They're all happening right now. It's all right now. The words, the teaching, points to something that at that moment that needs to be clarified, and then the words can be discarded. Just stay with your understanding, not so much with your remembering. And your understanding takes care of itself. All you need to do is at this very moment to remain present to what is being shared, so that you come to, aha, I get it. And that's good enough. You can let it go. Don't try to remember it.
Magdi?
Yes, hello, Esther.
Hi.
Hello.
Is there an echo? Echo?
A slight echo, but
okay.
maybe after you pose your question, you can mute.
Okay.
And also it may be helpful to use, if you have access to earphones, to use earphones.
Yeah.
It might.
I don't have any close by.
Okay, no, I mean not now. I'm talking next time.
Okay.
Yes.
there's a strong urge to express gratitude today. And I've been with you almost a year, and the words of satsang, the understanding, penetrate and they stick like glue. And I just, for example, the last two satsangs, you spoke to the fear of annihilation or existent, or I forget the
Extinction.
word. Extinction, yeah. And ever since then, when you said the words, it was like the feeling came up, oh dear, you know. And then ever since then, there have been all kinds of fears, little ones, big ones, medium size, coming like a storm. And this morning about 3 a.m., I woke in a storm of that. And I spent almost 3 hours just probing and inquiring. And by the time the sun came up, by the time it was morning, there was nothing left but the self. And I just wanted to express the realization of how blessed having come to you as a teacher, and your words have become a beacon and in an anchor. And I just felt the urge to express that today. And thank you. I do have kind of a question.
Yes.
Would you speak to the sensation of boredom and the ways that the separate self escapes that or tends to? And the escapes, I was looking at some of the escapes, and they aren't necessarily escapes like reading a book or going to a movie or drinking alcohol or eating ice cream. They may appear as escapes, but not always, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here I am, I'm sitting somewhere and I'm bored. What does it mean? It's a good question to ask ourselves, because we can get to the understanding right here. And we have the question, I'm bored, what is it? What does it mean? And we have that question, and we can ask the question directly to ourselves, because the boredom is here and we don't need to go somewhere else to find out what it is. Like if the question was, what is the nightingale? So I will go to the nightingale to find what the nightingale is. But the question is, I am bored, so what does it mean? What is this boredom? So I can go, I'm not going to go out. I'll go right here and I'll ask right here. So I ask myself, what is my experience of that? What is it? So I don't know. It's important to always start with I don't know. So I don't know, but I can ask a question. Maybe There will be an answer. Maybe there will be no answer. I don't know. So I asked the question, what does it mean I'm bored? So as I sit with it, I may realize that there are some thoughts. You know, maybe the thoughts may be, oh, God, I have nothing to do. Is you know, I wish I was doing something more interesting, or I wish I had something. I don't know. So you may notice some thoughts that are arising that are saying something about you. Because if there were not any thoughts that were saying anything about you and about what you're doing or about your life, then you are in the thoughtless, you are in the uncluttered presence. You're just in the not knowing. You're just being that transparent being. It's just transparent being. So there is a thought that is coming, that's arising. I'm not thinking that thought. I'm just seeing the thought. Oh, you know, I mean, there is a thought that says, oh, I'm thinking this thought, but in fact, I'm noticing the thought. Yeah, I wish there was something better for me to do. You cannot fabricate that thought, but you perceive it. Oh, I wish there was something better for me to do. And within that thought, that thought is referring to you. Right? It's referring to you, saying, oh, don't you have something better to do? But that thought doesn't know you, right? It's just it has it's just words. They're just images. But it's referring to you as a person, you as a body mind, you as a woman, you as somebody. And right there is the unhappiness. You can call it boredom, you can call it sadness, you can call it depression. It doesn't matter what you call it. It always amounts to the same thing in a way. That there is a thought that arises that says, you are somebody, and things should be different. As soon as you are somebody, there is an external world. There is a separate self and an external world. And there is this whole mess of... So then we say, oh, well, how can I deal with boredom? In fact, there is no such thing as boredom. Boredom is just a word. It's just a concept. It's just a certain sensation that we're experiencing that is accompanied, that comes hand in hand with the thought that I'm a person. So I'm a person, and then upon that initial thought, which is the original sin, in Christianity they said original sin, which is the source of ignorance, that I am a person. Then there are other things. Oh, well, I'm not a great person, I'm not a loved person, I'm not a wealthy person, I'm not a young person, I'm not blah blah. It's like a huge pyramid, but that's sitting upside down. The point of the pyramid. So it's a pyramid. Let me see. It's a triangle that's sitting upside down like that. The point of the pyramid is down on the root, and it's the I thought, that I am a person. And from there it goes into ad infinitum, more and more thoughts and more unhappiness about me, my life, my past, my future, my health, my money, where I live, my sister, my mom, etc., my boss, whatever. So in terms of boredom, you have all it takes within yourself to look at it, to ask yourself, well, what is it? And you will notice thoughts, and then of course sensations that come to the thought, like the thought, Jay, you're you're incompetent, or you will feel that, or you thought there is somebody hiding, somebody who wants to harm me. You will feel that. The thoughts and the body mind is one. So the thought and the sensation, they are harmonious. They come together. It's a package deal. So you will notice that boredom is it has a sort of quality of a me that wants something else, but there is no me. In fact, there isn't an actual me outside of the thought or the image of me. There is no actual me. So if there is no actual me, no actual personal self, then what are we talking about? Because it's a personal self that's feeling bored. What are we talking about? Now, in terms of doing activities in your life, the body mind loves to interact, to interface, to go for walks, to eat nice foods, to listen to music, to read books, to investigate, is curious. Like, you look at children, it's amazing. Like, they run around from the time they wake up to at night, and then they collapse. They have so much energy they want to check everything and look at everything and play with everything. This is the human body, the body mind. So in that way, be completely open to, yes, you feel like going for a walk, you feel like reading a book, you feel like playing a game, you feel like eating some ice cream, you feel like learning how to cook, make a new menu. It's amazing. With the internet, you can learn so many things. There are people that are posting so many things. It's so much available to us. Yes, but you do it out of your freedom, not out of, I need to do that. You see? Yeah, I would like to do that. Yeah, that's different from I need to do that or I must do that. I'd like to do that. Then, as I said so many times before, you may end up, if you like to, for example, like to play the guitar, like to learn how to play the guitar, you may end up learning how to make pasta, who knows? But it doesn't matter, because you're not attached. Your happiness doesn't depend on the thought that arises to you to celebrate. So life is a celebration, and go for it, and just follow your bliss, just enjoy, just be watchful not to mistake yourself to be a limited consciousness, because consciousness has no limitation. There's no, right now in this very moment, if you look at yourself, not at an image, if you go to that perceives, the reality that perceives, it's there. It's completely real. I mean, we call it awareness, consciousness. It's completely real, but it's not a thing that you can look at. Like you can look at these glasses. It is that perceives, that is the undeniable reality of being awareness.
Thanks, Mati. It's just another boredom, a word that means another I thought.
Yes.
Just another I thought, like all the others.
Yes, behind the boredom, there is I the person.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that's clear.
When you're doing things that, your life, whatever you're doing, you should paying attention of how it feels, if it's like free and happy, and that you can let it go. It's very important that you can let it go. You do it because you enjoy doing it. I'm having ice cream because I'm enjoying, but somebody comes and says, oh, give me half of the ice cream or give me all the ice cream. I say, yeah, please go ahead. I can let it go. The body may say, oh, I was enjoying the cream and the sugar and the chocolate or whatever. Big deal. The body is not the boss. you know, consciousness is complete freedom. And so in small ways you will find how you can like live that freedom. That freedom. Somebody says, "Oh, can I have the ice cream?" Say, "Yeah, have it." You know, it may be a little hesitation, a little resistance, you know, but I say, have it. Let's just, and so what?
Depends on what kind.
Don't mess with my chocolate ice cream, right? So yeah, it's you explore, you know, you experiment, and you notice some things about yourself. Okay, so sometimes, you know, there are some things that you don't want to let go of. Okay, not a big deal. Okay, it's not a big deal. You don't need to judge yourself, because as soon as you judge yourself, it is a separate self that's coming in to get on board. You know, is trying to re-establish itself. But when you're like, okay, fine, so you wanted my ice cream, and I said no. Okay, big deal. Okay, big deal. Or I said yes, and same. It's not about being a perfect person. It's about realizing the transparency of being that is. The reality, the vastness of being, the borderless beingness, awareness that is, which we refer to as I, the I am.
Magdi?
Yes.
Yes, I have another question.
Yes.
In the retreat here in Costa Rica, at the beginning, you emphasized the importance of letting go of everything, the images, the, let's say, the mundane pursuits and everything. But it always has to do with this personal self that is dressed in all that. So it would have to be a questioning of, before letting go, you would first have to question the solidity of the person. Otherwise, it becomes a personal self that, oh, I let go, I give this, I give that, I don't give a damn about this and that, and and that's not the point, isn't it? It's just start questioning your being as a person. That's where letting go starts. Am I right?
There are three important pillars in the contemplation of truth, in the contemplation of the self. And I'm going to state them, but they're all one, really. They all come together, but I'm going to speak them as if they're three distinct aspects of the contemplation. And I'm not saying them in any order of importance, because they're all at the same level of importance. One of them is the letting go, the whatever the words are, the surrender, the abandon, the laying back, the relaxation, the letting go. So letting go at the mental level of all your thoughts, your beliefs, your ideas, your opinions, your likes, your dislikes, letting go, and letting go at the body level. At the body level, letting go at the body level is a relaxation of the breathing, relaxing your belly, relaxing your chest, relaxing your neck, your eyes, your face, and allowing whatever is arising, to be in entire, to be in its complete freedom, without thinking about it, without trying to fix it, without trying to interfere. So and there is a lot to be said about that, but that's just for now. That's what I would say. This is, so it's a letting go. It is the path of devotion. The devotion. The second aspect of the contemplation is the Atma-Vichara, the contemplation of what am I truly? What is the self? What am I? What is this person? What is the reality of my experience? As you were saying, Anna Cristina, that if you are not contemplating what am I truly, then the letting go, there is still within the letting go a personal self. Yeah. So the path of devotion, at some point or the other, has to come with the path of inquiry, the path of wisdom. It has to join, and the sooner the path of devotion joins with the path of wisdom and inquiry, the deeper the pollination of the contemplation takes place. And the third aspect of the contemplation of the self is grace, is being open to grace, being open to God's wisdom, being open to God's light, saying yes in the depth of your heart to God's grace. I invite God's grace, and God's grace responds to your calling, because you are that grace. So yes, as you were saying, the path of devotion, meaning the letting go, is not sufficient of itself, because there's still the personal self-impression still remains. So there is a need to comprehend the complete teaching in order not to get stuck.
Okay, fine. Thank you for your answer. It's
okay.
Absolutely clear. Yeah.
Okay. And also in terms of the Atma-Vichara, the contemplation of what am I, it's really important that this contemplation is not done mechanically. That it's not like, it's not just coming right from the mind. It has to also be lived. And the best way to come to the heart of Atma-Vichara is to be with your teacher, because to be the teacher is the self, is the living light. It will ignite your contemplation and take you from a dry contemplation of what am I to the contemplation that also has the heart in it.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your question, Cristina.
Thank you for your answer. It's great. It really resonates within me.
Well, thank you for your lovely company, and for your questions, and for satsang. Thank you. We'll see you in a few days, yeah?
Okay. Thank you. Namaste.
Okay, namaste.